Hi, friends. Imagine you're an Imperial mega elite of sorts and you really need some dude gonzo. Who do you call? The Scissors of Battle? Not good enough. Plus, you can't talk to women. The Space Prince? Not good enough. The Custodes? Too good for you. No, when Imperial super duper need someone good and buried, they call the Imperial Assassins. These are the ultra super elite assassins of the Imperium and are some of the deadliest, if not the deadliest individuals in the entire setting. The Officio Assassinorum, also called the much sillier sounding Office of Assassins, was created early in the Imperium during the Great Crusade. Since then, they've been used as a powerful asset for the leaders of the Imperium to assert their dominance and influence important events. But if you want to protect your minis from the insidious and deadly assassin known as I'm a very clumsy and silly boy who drops my expensive minis, and the other abhorrent assassin whose mere existence inspires disgust, Mr. I just throw my minis in a box, then you need to check out today's sponsor, Tabletop Stronghold. Tabletop Stronghold is the maker of some great MDF mini cases and terrain sets. The flagship Mag Case 2.0 comes in 3 sizes to fit all your mini carrying needs. I've been using my Mag Case 2.0 to lug my guard army around for about half a year now, and it's been great. It's very sturdy, spacious, and has its signature removable steel trays. These trays give me peace of mind that my lovingly painted minis won't rub up on each other, and that they'll be safe on the perilous trip to the shop. It's also very convenient since I can swap out trays. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Relic Blade, and I can just switch out my Bunch of Guardsmen tray with the Relic Blade one. In addition, they've also got some great MDF terrain, perfectly suited for competitive and casual 40k games, but they're fitting for a wide variety of things. Best of all, they're running their blazing bargain sale right now, so you can get up to 30% on select products. Included in the sale is a Mag Case and Terrain bundle, which is perfect if you wanted all they have to offer. So, if that sounds good to you, check them out in the link in the description for some awesome cases and terrain, and get free shipping to the US, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and most of the EU. Thank you, Tabletop Stronghold, for supporting the channel. Anyways, though, more subtle and sometimes even more influential than the brutal armies of the Imperium, the assassins are the quote, ultimate tools of destruction and diplomacy. Single assassins have crumpled rebellions, destabilized entire planets, and of course, assassinated a whole lot of influential and powerful enemies of the Imperium. The assassins are insanos, being almost unmatched in skill. They have supernatural reflexes, being able to dodge bullets. They have insanely enhanced minds and senses, are incredibly strong, and mega fast. These guys are sent to exterminate the budding mutant, heretic, xeno, and anything that may one day blossom into a vile fruit of corruption. The assassins are heralds of death, and no one can evade their deliverance. So, due to their efficiency and threat, only the High Lords of Terra are allowed to deploy Imperial assassins with at least a 2/3 vote, since they're scared that the assassins will be used against them after the Age of Apostasy and subsequent Wars of Vindication. These Wars of Vindication were a spy versus spy type civil war between the Grand Master of Assassins and an usurping imposter. The TLDR of it is the Grandmaster was assassinated, and his assassin impersonated him to take his place. But the Grandmaster is, of course, a master of assassins, so he anticipated this and he led his assassins to assassinate his assassin. And in the end, he assassinated the assassin and faked his own assassination to exile himself from his previous position as assassin leader of the assassins. So new assassination method. Take a shot every time I say assassin in this video. To double the effectiveness, take a shot every time I say ass in this video. Anyways, though, after all these wacky hijinks, the Inquisition put the Office of Assassins under close scrutiny, and the High Lords gained exclusive control over them. Most Imperials don't even know about the Assassins. And due to this, the Assassins are afforded special privileges as long as it furthers the effectiveness of their mission. The most prominent example is their unique gear, many of which are built from Xeno weapons, which is always fun to see. The assassins are broken up into 4 main temples and then 2 more unimportant temples that no one cares about. These temples are led by a small group of Lord Assassins who teach and supervise the assassins under them, and they also plan and strategize for the operations that they're assigned. And just like the Scions, Sisters, and Commissars, Imperial Assassin ranks are drawn from orphans because some High Lord read the ancient Picto text of Terran warlord Batman and realized orphans can be trained into peak humans. Promising recruits are first taught and trained in the various Scholar Progenium across the Imperium. Then, the most talented recruits are brought to Terra and are once again put under rigorous tests. The survivors of such tests are then divided into secret temples based on their strengths, presumably with the talking hat of sorts, but that's just a theory. A lame theory. Please keep watching. Anyways, in the temples, they truly hone their craft and are forged into deadly killers who kill things dead. Through brutal training that pushes aspirants to the utmost limits of humanity, deadly duels, weapons training, and other things that are probably much harder than the 30-minute daily walk that I usually skip because, well, I'm a little eepy boy. My laziness aside, though, they become masters of their respective temple specialty and carry out deadly operations. Though divided into their temples, the assassins do have a few commonalities. They are, of course, all extremely proficient killers, but they also sometimes use the same equipment, most notably is their Sin Skin. Sin Skin is their Brayon armor that's deceptively protective. It completely protects the wearers from environmental hazards, reduces infrared emissions, has large oxygen reserves, and enhances senses and strength of the wearer. Pretty good for being in a can. I don't actually know if it comes in a can. But, anyways, the first and most straightforward temple we'll discuss is the Vindicare Temple. These guys are your basic ass sniper assassins. But that's not a dig at them in any way. Sure, shooting someone dead is about as creative as proxying a kill team as Gaunt's Ghost, but by golly, the Vindicares completely perfected the art of shooting someone dead. On many occasions, the Vindicare altered the course of wars, if not outright prevented them with a single bullet. They have trained to lie in near perfect stillness for days to even years. They are able to pick out targets near instantly with their incredibly honed eyes and spy masks, and they can make seemingly impossible shots with ease. Their main weapon is the Exodus rifle, which is a humongous sniper rifle that is master crafted to never jam or shoot off target. The Vindicare has access to a variety of rounds to shoot from their Exodus rifle depending on their target. The basic round uses quote-unquote high-gravity alloys that can penetrate most armors in the galaxy, and they've also got shield breaker rounds to short-circuit personal force fields, hellfire rounds to use acid to disintegrate targets, and turbo penetrator rounds for when they want to be a bit more of a James Bond-esque assassin. And they've also got access to a stealth suit, which further enhances their chameleonic synth skin so that they can slink away after a kill. And Vindicares aren't limited to methodical, perfectly lined up shots either. They are near perfect marksmen who can hit a number of targets with perfect accuracy and possibly fast. Famously, a Vindicare killed an Eldar Exarch and its retinue in mere seconds. They're also proficient in badass cowboy quick draws with their humongo Exodus pistol. Coolest shit ever. I'm a big fan of cool guns and cool guys who shoot said cool guns in cool fashion, so the Vindicare are some of my favorite, despite them being super basic. But an assassin temple that's far from basic and is probably my favorite one is the Eversor Assassins. These guys are basically opposite of Vindicares. Instead of methodically sulking around in the shadows until a perfect shot presents itself and then leaving with no evidence, the Eversor is a crazy guy whose job is to create as much evidence as possible to deter further heresy. These are the most ruthless and gruesome assassins as they're drug-fueled killing machines. They are psycho-indoctrinated to become literal sociopaths who are addicted to killing. They're equipped with an executioner pistol, power knife, and neuro gauntlet. Their pistol is a bolt pistol with a rail-mounted needle pistol that shoots evil-ass toxic needles, and their neural gauntlet is a sinister-looking glove that can cut through marine armor and inject neurotoxins that cause an agonizing, horrific death in most organics. Notably, it also works against demons, which is pretty nutty considering their warp entities. In addition to their weaponry, though, they're genetically and mechanically enhanced to become the perfect killers. They're given a second heart to both cope with the flurry of combat stimulants and to push the limits of their physical body even further. They're also essentially given a more sophisticated version of the butcher's nail so that they absolutely hate any and all enemies and are compelled to complete their mission at all costs. They also get their own brand of murder ADHD, or MADHD, in which their hyperactive minds allow them to masterfully eviscerate their foes at extreme speeds. And since they're so dang bloodthirsty, they're kept in a cryo crypt until their pot is shot at whatever poor moron decides to rebel against Imperial rule. On impact, they're stimmed up and fully awake and ready to kill. And then, after everything in like a mile radius is dead, they're put back into cryosleep for their next kill. Due to the nature of their cryocrypts, a life of an Aversor is literal unending bloodshed. Even if frozen for centuries, they are unaware of the passage of time and are only lucid during their frenzies. But back to the crazy drugs. Just like how your one uncle drinks so much that he sweats alcohol, the Eversor has so many stimulants pumping through his body that he literally exudes venom and has a toxic mist about him. He also has xenomorph acid blood, which is pretty cool too. And if someone does miraculously manage to kill an Eversor, all his crazy drugs explode into a mist of toxins, acids, venoms, light, and a bunch of other nasty little fluids that are lethal to most species. Of all the assassins, these dudes are true one-man armies, eviscerating everyone they see, blasting bolts and needles, and tossing melta-bombs. And melta-bombs are pretty damn hot. And you know what else is pretty damn hot? The Calidus Assassin. Yeah, bang! That was a trick. Your affinity for beautiful babes just got you assassinated. And to add salt to the wound, that was no beautiful babe. It was a dude using polymorphine. And while that one that just killed you was a dude, most of the Calidus assassins are in fact actually beautiful babes, since polymorphine is more compatible with female biology. The Calidus assassins are infiltrators and masters of disguise. They typically impersonate people close to the target in order to manufacture the perfect kill. In addition, they may impersonate those in power to manipulate important figures, topple command structures, and other wacky hijinks. To perfectly impersonate targets, the Calidus are taught how to act and feel exactly like their subject in order to exert extreme control over their bodies so that they can properly use the polymorphine. Polymorphine is a special drug that, through cool sci-fi magic, breaks the cellular bonds of the assassin's body enough that they can reshape into whatever humanoid form that they want. It takes extreme skill and training to achieve the control over oneself to properly use the polymorphine. But when achieved, the Calidus assassin can impersonate near anything that is roughly the same size and shape of them. And this goes beyond humans. Calidus assassins are able to impersonate humanoid Xenos like Eldar, Tau, Orcs, or even funnier, Gretchen. And if they really get crazy, with a little help, they can even impersonate Genestealer hybrids. And then, beyond being masters of disguise, Calidus are also, of course, masters of disguise, dead now, cause she killed him. These badass ladies are masters of many forms of combat. Most notably, they're particularly good at hand-to-hand combat, since most disguises would make it hard to conceal weapons. But when they can take weapons, their preferred arms are the iconic Neural Shredder and Phase Sword. The Neural Shredder is an Eldar weapon that overloads its target's central nervous system, causing seizures, loss of consciousness, and even death. Beyond the horrors of literally getting your brain scrambled, the Shredder leaves essentially no evidence, making it an obvious choice for a covert assassin. And the Phase Sword is a modified Necron weapon, so yeah, it's a good sword. And sometimes they also leave a death card that plays their target's moment of death to whoever finds the body. Thank you, Assassin's board game, for that little scary tidbit. Also, a Calidus assassin has one of the biggest feats of the assassins. Mshen, the Godslayer, is the only non-Primarch to kill a Primarch, which is badass. But also, to be fair, Curse was dosing on stupid pills and kinda let her, so his dumb little visions could be fulfilled. But to be fair to that, the fact that it's even conceivable for a Calidus to kill a Primarch is pretty nuts. She also killed a bunch of other Night Lords and then fought Talos one-handed and blinded. Talos acknowledged that she was a better killer than him, and he barely managed to win. Finally, though, for the main four, we have the Caluxus assassins, which are probably the wackiest of the bunch. With the others, you have the archetypical sniper, infiltrator, and crazy murderer, but with the Caluxus, you get a literally soulless, mind-breaking, almost eldritch horror. Caluxus assassins are said to be the most sinister of all assassins, other assassin temples even being wary towards them. A big reason that everyone hates and is scared of these dudes is because they have negative aura. And that's not a joke, it's literally written in the codex. But this negative aura is from their pariah gene. This basically means that they have a negative soul and makes non-blanks nauseous or uneasy in one way or another. And the other reason that everyone hates and is scared of them is because they're fucking horrifying freaks. These fellas are terror manifest, and through intense training, Coluxes are able to focus their pariah effects into intense and deadly attacks. For most blanks, their aura just makes people dislike and ostracize them, but for Coluxes, their aura is so powerful it can induce intense migraines, boil people's brains, make them cry blood, and other fun things. They are so rizzless that it literally makes people die. So slightly worse than the average gamer. To some, this effect is so powerful that it can make them near invisible or make people believe that the assassin is a mere illusion, since their blank aura is so horrible that people naturally deny their existence. Since their blank aura is so powerful though, they're given no conventional weapons as it would literally just slow them down. Their weapon is their animus spectrum, which is integrated with their helmet. This is their most important equipment since it suppresses their blank energy until they're in battle. Then, in battle, it's switched to amplify their blank energy, and the big eye thing can blast beams of death. That's right, they got a laser eye, baby! Bad ass! This evil beam harvests the victim's souls, brutally murdering them in the process. But even with that, the true weapon is the Coluxes themselves. They are probably the most powerful assassins, the most powerful of which have such an intense blank field that they can act as an invisible hand of death with anyone within their aura simply dying. Of all the assassins, the Coluxes is truly death incarnate. And although these guys are deadly to every foe, they are especially effective against psychers since their blank powers are amplified even further, and their mere presence can even just outright kill psychers. In addition, they have an advanced version of the Grey Knight's Aegis suit that makes them immune to psychic attacks. And to further demonstrate their nuttiness, a Coluxes assassin killed the Tau's ethereal supreme Anva. He single-handedly infiltrated the secret bunker, took out his entire retinue, and then brutally murdered the ethereal supreme. And this is nutty for a few reasons. First off, Tau have a very weak psychic presence, but the Coluxes' blank field is so powerful it still caused them immense agony and scrambled their machine's AI. That's right, even literal machines felt the effects of the Eversource Pariah gene. And the second reason this is so nutty is because I think that it's the only instance of an actual faction's main leader being killed in the 40k era. This guy is a Tao's Emperor equivalent. Granted, he's not very powerful himself, but he presumably had the best warriors of the Tau as his bodyguard, since he's literally the most important dude in their empire. Also, the Tau aren't exactly the most powerful faction, but they're still a main faction, and to kill their actual leader is quite the feat. And finally, if you really super duper duper ultra want someone dead, you can assemble an Assassinorum execution force, which is all four of the main assassins working together to kill one terrible foe. But with that, the important assassins are out of the way, so let me quickly touch on the other two. These other two are the Venus and Venenum temples. The Venus are basically advanced intelligence officers and are essentially human computers. They gather intelligence for the Imperium, craft strategies, and use their intel to orchestrate their target's demise. They also have one of the coolest assassin models. And then the Venenum assassins are masters of having a very on-the-nose name. Although technically they should be named the Poisonenum Temple because they specialize in poisoning their targets, and poison and venom are actually different things. They are master chemists who concoct evil-ass potions that can kill victims in various ways. Most commonly and practically though, they use a poison that kills without leaving any trace of the poison. They also use toxic injectors, poison globes, and other nasty devices to kill their enemies. They've also got the worst looking assassin model. But with that, those are the Imperial Assassins. These guys are very cool and are straight up some of the deadliest guys in the setting. They're feared by all who know of their existence, and if one is sent after you, your death is all but inevitable. They also look pretty damn cool and have some of the nuttiest abilities and feats. But let me know what you think and what's your favorite assassin in the comments below. Mine is either the Vindicare or the Eversor, but they're all pretty closely ranked to me. But anyways, don't forget to check out Tabletop Stronghold's Blazing Bargains deal in the link below if you want some great MDF cases and terrain. And as always, thank you for watching, and big thanks to the patrons who help me make these cool videos. If you like my stuff, consider joining or checking out my P.O. box. I love seeing and reading all the cool stuff people have sent. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, and consider sharing to all your ultra mega deadly assassin pals. Also, fun annoying fact, I technically have both versions of the Metal Vindicator Assassin, except I'm missing important pieces. For the one in the shooting pose, I'm missing his gun, and the other one, I only have the guns. Oh, what's even the point?